Typically in these beginning months of the year, it's a little bit slower, which allows us to deepen relationships with folks. So then that way, when the market picks up in the spring and the summer, we're not starting at ground zero, trying to build the relationships. We can see how we can get in people's process. All right, we'll wrap up last week here. Congrats, Jake. Big accomplishment, man, in January. And you led the office last week in new business revenue, 3498, called 3500.
It was kind of encouraging to know, hey, it didn't take that many. It took Sharon, like one really good referral partner, sending 11.
Right. Well, here's what we also know, Jake, is that it's about 50 policies will hit that 10K, and then I think you packaged at what, 28%, Blake? It depletes a lot though too, which is kind of the ebb and flow of it. It's almost going back to what Blake was saying with the mindset there of like, you throw down 3,500 and then maybe you're like, oh, where did it all go? And then that's kind of when you get back on those touch points of talking to folks too. So, but we'll keep in touch with you there. Okay, Monday morning meeting for February 1st. See, it sounds pretty repetitive what we do, but basically it's visit, build relationships. It's so important in the beginning. One thing we have noticed is typically during this time, I'd say maybe not so much the case in the last year just because the housing market has been ridiculously insane and it's been booming, but typically these slower months, which they will be slower, but it's all in context what slow is compared to the summer. But typically in these beginning months of the year, it's a little bit slower, which allows us to deepen relationships with folks. So then that way, when the market picks up in the spring and the summer, we're not starting at ground zero, trying to build the relationships. We can see how we can get in people's process to better help them and their clients once they get busy. Because when people are busy, it's a little bit more challenging for us to get into their process at that point because things are just coming at them like this and they just need to get everything closed and done and off their desk. So one of the main things we try to do early on in the year, even back in November, December when it slows down, is to try to deepen those relationships with folks when their business slows down just a bit. Again, most people in the real estate and mortgage industry didn't have a slowdown last year because it's just been booming. But anyways, hope that helps. It helps us, gives us something to do even in the slower months, gives us purpose in forming our relationships and deepening those relationships so that we can all start working together once it gets super busy, and it just is a smooth process for the client when they're dealing with so much, either refinancing or buying a new home. So we've all been there. If you've bought a home or refinance, you know how much work it can be. Also kind of nice to be in a spot where we can give back to these people in a different way too, because it's a good thing to do, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I like that thought. I mean, I don't think any of that, what we're doing, is gonna unmotivate people.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be like, man, they're asking too much now, I don't want to send them any more business.
Right.
It just stirs more business. I don't foresee this losing us.
No, and it's kind of a fun thing that holds us accountable to looking at the numbers and everything month in and month out too, to see where everybody is. Who knows, maybe they pass it along and they're like, oh, hey, this is what those guys are doing at Goosehead. The realtor passes it on to the loan officer. Maybe the loan officer gets enticed and wants to have in on the fun.
Yeah.
Here's what I think is really refreshing to me, Jake, is that for one, like you're on top of everything. You're extremely self-motivated in a lot of ways, but equally you like the accountability and you're coachable. So that's a good thing. I think over the last like even 60 days, just your knowledge of how the agency works and like some of the questions you ask is, to me, it shows a deeper interest in the agency as a whole.
Jake killed it out there.
Yeah. I think all the the little things that you're doing, man, even going back to when you were filming videos and you send that out to do the extra, taking the extra step, like not only to prospect, but to understand like where your commission is, keeping track of that, where your renewal is, even how we get paid on it, dude. Like, we're so transparent that there's nothing to hide, but asking those questions is a good thing, you know? All right, so as me and Blake have gone to start to scale our agency, we've been making it a point to become a little bit more structured. You've noticed that in some of our weekly Monday morning meetings that we've been having. That was Jake's monthly one-on-one. It's actually very, very hard for me to figure out a way to help the guy because he does everything so well, and he's adapted and he learns so much. He soaks everything up like a sponge. So if he continues to do that and just kind of keep the activity going and build out those relationships, which I feel like a broken record half the time saying that, but that's where he will start to consistently produce at a high level. So we'll just keep encouraging him to go that route. So we have the weekly meetings for the office, and then we'll do monthly one-on-ones to kind of recap the previous month. So far so good. Helped me and Blake become a little bit more structured and bring some organization as we start to hire more folks out there. Okay, first one-on-one with Karen. We're getting her off the ground and running. So you can tell activity is such a big thing of what we do here, and it compounds over time. So I probably say the same thing over and over again, but it's so true. So I think the main thing is that what I try to keep in mind is what I can do to help her become successful throughout this whole process, get her dialed in. So rather than just kind of dictating, maybe seeing how she feels about things, sharing our experience on what worked for us. I'm a big fan of listening to someone's experience rather than their opinion, although I do ask for people's opinions sometimes. So all in all, decent day. Me and Blake are going to be very happy with ourselves because we followed through on our Monday morning meetings all of January, and we did our one-on-ones, because these things are not the easiest thing for us to keep on the schedule, but it is definitely beneficial for the folks we bring in, and we realize that. So we'll keep it rocking and rolling. All right, what's up, guys? Super excited. Last night, I actually dove into my content and saw that the first episode of Follow the Lines Going South has been edited and is ready to go. So definitely put a big smile on my face. It's actually kind of cool because when I shoot these videos and trying to give an update and bring some value to you guys on what happens in the insurance world, or even prospecting from a business standpoint, in little snippets like this, I'm not sure how that's going to come across, but thank you to Grant, who is fantastic on editing and putting it together, because he put all these little clips together into one little vlog there, and it really was kind of cool. And I think hopefully it's going to help a lot of people, either in the insurance world or business world, or at least give people some insight as to what happens in our world and what kind of people we are out there. So very cool. It's exciting, something I've now need to hold myself accountable to give you guys updates on a daily basis so we can put all this stuff together. But super excited for what's to come. Be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Lines Going South.